Well, howdy, nearly seniors. It is an here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It is sunny outside now. It was gray, chill, and overcast when I woke up, but ain't like that anymore. Which is why it is loud. I have my fan on in the window. I may use Audacity for noise reduction. I may not. I am unsure. Probably not, because I record and edit off my PlayStation, so it would just be too warm without the fan on. My apologies. Yay! Front loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, it'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be very awesome. If you could leave... How do I normally do this? I'm not sure. Leave me a comment. That would be double plus good. And I would like to thank what few people I write on this list. 4 people every day off my Patreon list. These are beautiful and awesome people that help to keep me and my aging pet metabolizing. If you would like to keep me and my aging pet metabolizing, I have links to the Patreon in the video description, along with a PayPal for possible donations, and an Amazon wishlist link that I desperately need to re-update, but I haven't been able to because of executive dysfunction issues, because of everything that's been going on with the cellulitis in my leg and all the stressors in life. Yay, thumbs up, front loading of videos over. Yeah, I have therapy today as well, and not only do I have therapy, but at 2 o'clock I have another online appointment to get a total assessment for the whole social worker thing. So thumbs up on that. Yay, it's going to be a busy day. Good thing I did some recording yesterday, so I just need to finish the recording and put that up the day after editing. Yay! Oh boy. Yeah, my leg. I kept myself planted in this chair as much as possible yesterday. I've been keeping my leg up. I've been moving around as little as possible. When I went walkies, it was just at a local, what's the name of the place? Safeway. And then back. And so, yeah, I'm not doing much, and oh boy, I'm having to go to bed early anymore because sitting in this chair with my leg up stresses my lower back out so bad. I literally just cannot sit anymore from about 10 o'clock onward. Which of course means I'm awake at 5 o'clock every day because I can only sleep for so long before I have to get out of bed because I hurt. Thumbs up for that. Let me adjust this thing that I've got underneath my leg to make sure that everything is properly supported. Joyous life. Past that, I have just been surviving and doing my very best. I've been trying to think creatively. I have been trying to do this, that, and the other, and instead, I largely haven't been able to, so... Joy. There are some things I am going to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about little creative stuff I can remember. I watched 2 videos today, and one of the, well, they're both kind of amusing. One made me laugh out loud. One of them is just amusing because it's ridiculous. J.K. Rowling is just horrific online. And there is this one fellow who's just unabashedly bizarre, has made apologies because they were one of the people that started the whole anti-SJW thing, but it's TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist fellow. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because he made a tweet that J.K. Rowling, sarcastically, she called him one of the great thinkers of our century, something like that, or our lifetimes, which is now a quote that he can use. And in fact, it's in his bio. One of the great thinkers of our time, J.K. Rowling. Because even though she was being just sarcastic as all get out, you can't hear sarcasm in print. So now he has an unironic quote from J.K. Rowling, a celebrated author, calling him one of the great thinkers of our time. So thumbs up for that. The tweet that he had done, it was just 2 sentences repeated over and over and over again. I'm going to sort of edit them for monetization purposes, but one of them is men pregnant, and then girl traditionally considered external male genitalia. And then just repeated that over and over and over, those 2 lines, for like that much of a tweet. J.K. Rowling, of course, saw that, and again, she's a horrible person, so jumped on it. Yay! The other thing I'm laughing about is something that I probably shouldn't be laughing about. It was on one of these Reddit things, and there was a news story about a gang member who had Down syndrome that was being charged for murder. And the person's comment about that was, he's got Downs and he's in a gang? Talk about progressive and inclusive. And I had to laugh at that because inside I, of course, am a terrible person as well. So thumbs up for that. What else do I have on my list? Yeah, I'm just going to talk about the actual status of my leg here now. It looked good yesterday. By not doing anything as much as possible, by just planting myself in my chair and stressing my back out, by keeping my leg up, it looked good. It is sore as heck all day yesterday and this morning too. Looks good swelling wise. There was barely any at all yesterday. In fact, when I went to bed, I could see the veins on my shins sticking out like they usually do. So thumbs up for that. It's nice that that much swelling has gone down. Unfortunately, around the area where the actual infection is, a lot of the spots that are still really tender are also that sort of going from soft and squishy to feeling like it's made out of styrofoam. And if I push, then it hurts. I got a fair amount of that still around the ankle. But the actual swelling, almost entirely gone. There is some discoloration, not much, it's just red. That happens with infections. You have increased blood flow, it turns red from increased blood. So it's red from that a bit. It's not hot, there's no heat from the infection. It's just extremely tender and kind of red. Past that, if you looked at it, you almost wouldn't be able to tell. But gosh darn, does it hurt walking around. Just sitting, it occasionally just hurts. So I don't know. I continue to take my doxycycline. I have a doctor appointment at the end of next month, so if this doesn't work, yeah, I'm going to be in the ER once or twice before that appointment. Still got to call up the Veterans Administration. They were supposed to have gotten me a local community doctor. They said, we'll get in contact with you. The only time I ever heard of them, they said, contact us, and did not leave me a phone number to contact them. I've never heard from them since. I don't know who to contact. So now I'm going to try and get the authorization to get the doctor there. So I'm going to talk to the social worker about that today. Ugh. Joy. Past that, let me just take a look at all the rest of the stuff I've got on my list. Well, I'm going to talk a bit about Old Ray and stuff on the whole razor's edge sort of setting. I've mentioned before how there are 3 sets of chromosomes that we all have in my setting. Only one of them if you're a normal human being like us, and I say normal because we're made out of normal matter. With your normal human being, you have 3 sets of genes, but chromosomes, but only one is active. If you're from the razor's edge or the inside, that set of chromosomes is active, the other 2 are not. If you're in the cryptid world, your cryptid genes are active, but not the other 2. Now there is overlap. 2% of the population of normal people has either cryptid vision or the sight to see glamours. Of those 2% that can do that, only 2% of them can see, like the cryptid world, or the cryptid world can see the inside-outside razor's edge gates. So there are very few people that have both. But the people do have the sight and the vision. But not only is there just weird stuff in that you can travel with glamours and see doors if you have the sight. There is also, just like in the cryptid world, where they have extra abilities, talents, and skills because of all of their expressed genes. So too do the people from the inside in the razor's edge occasionally have that happen. About 1 in 10,000 has so many extra universal genes expressed, they are literally more. And they're already about 10% more than we are out here because of all their extra universal organs and structures. Now, I posited as a character that there is Ray. And Ray is about 700 years old. Ray was one of those who had extra genes expressed. Ray is immortal. He looks like he's in his late 40s, and he has looked like he's in his late 40s for the past 700 years. Unless he's killed, he's not going to die. He's not invulnerable, nothing like that. It's just he does not going to die of old age. He's going to look like he's in his late 40s forever. You know, graying on here, salt and pepper, mostly pepper, a little bit of salt in the beard. You know, he's mid-40s. Now, I've mentioned before that there is this static energy that forms from the two universes that bump together. And where the razor's edge is, that transition point between the two universes, all of that energy is in this universe between the two universes. And the razor's edge is one of those solid points of stability in this chaotic hurricane of energies going on. Because of that, these energies will leak into the razor's edge, and they will pour into beings and creatures or look for some sort of impetus to do something. It is a creative energy, and it wants to discharge. Using science is science, not magic, and by discharge, it requires a certain amount of arcing to happen, and when it arcs, it discharges violently. Creatively, but violently. However, just like any explosion, if you stretch things out, it's not bad. We live about, checking my time, about 70 years. We burn at 100 degrees. You stretch our lives out about 70 degrees and we're fine. If you stretched our lives into 1 second, all the heat generated by our living at 100 degrees would be a massive explosion. If you take a nuclear explosion and stretch it out several million years, you're just going to have a faint tick of background radiation. So, the same thing. When this energy drains into an area quickly, the huge discharge, the Devil Shot 4 disconnected. The huge discharge is destructive, but the longer you stretch it out, the less disruptive the effects. When Ray was young, about 8 years old, he had been looking through a picture book that his parents had gotten from the Crimson Kingdom, and there were people that were riding around on the 700 years ago in another universe, in another city, equivalent to bicycles that they're riding around on. Ray couldn't really read at that time, but he liked looking at the pictures, and as a kid he called it a Speliodonkus, and he wanted a Speliodonkus, so he started designing, and for the next 2 years he spent 1 year designing and then 1 year gathering parts and putting it together, and when he was done he had a bicycle-like thing. Now, Ray is such, at this point, just a nice, innocent, sweet kid. There is a busload of energy, this static energy that is drifting when he's doing this, and it begins to drain into him and what he is making, because it takes 2 years, and he is such a pure kid. There are no negative effects. What would have been negative effects actually just activates a few more of his extra universal genes. But at the end of the 2 years, that energy pouring through him into what he's making, he makes the Speliodonkus. And it's kind of a bicycle-like thing. But it had spent 2 years having that energy pour into it. And when he looked at this thing with just admiration and love on his 10-year-old face, and that Speliodonkus alive looked back at him, well, the Speliodonkus knew that it would die for this person. And old Ray, Well, old Ray just loved the Speliodonkus entirely. And so for the next 700 years, he's been driving, working on, and fixing up the Speliodonkus. And yeah, she is alive. She's also just a bicycle type thing. But she protects old Ray as best he can. And when he's trying to ride the line hard to get to places of safety, she can help and boost that. The bad part, of course, about things formed of this static energy on the places like the Razor's Edge is in the infinite ocean of possibility and potential, it has everything within it that is created by those energies. But there's nothing in it of anything created by the static energies. So old Ray is a part of the infinite ocean, but not the Speliodonkus. If she dies, she's gone. She's an independent. She's unique. She's a one of a kind. She's not a part of the infinite ocean. Now, two other things that because of this, there are other genes that express. One of them pushes, one of the things that happens pushes Ray's vision, his sense of sight for glamours and all that, up to human maximum. He can just, anywhere he looks, if he just chooses, he sees glamours and doors just instantly. He doesn't have to use like a phone book of just a few places to hopefully travel via glamour. He can just look at glamours, make his own connection, and start traveling. And when you ride the line as well as he can, which is you're skipping micro steps, yeah, he can jump thousands upon thousands of micro layers in one step when he rides the line hard. It doesn't take long for him to move very far when he is riding the line. The other thing that happens is he grows a whole mass of extra universal sensory organs and brain structures. Largely, those sensory organs are intensely paranoid. They're not just the normal senses we have. They sense like heat, ultraviolet, they track motion, and there's about 30 or 40 other different senses that we don't even have that all are watching the environment in a very paranoid fashion. All of this detail runs into the interpreter new structure of his brain. These go through and tag the whole, everything it sees, hears, and other organs of detection, everything that might be dangerous, and then that is passed on to the contextualizer, which uses its filter to figure out what is actually dangerous, feeds that into old Ray's subconscious, and he feels it all in his gut. When his gut tells him not to do something, he doesn't even think about it. He just turns around and goes. His gut has kept him alive. We have neural tissue, brain tissue, in our gut. So when your gut tells you something, when you have a gut feeling, that's actually the neural tissue in your gut working. But he gets that hard, so it wants to keep him alive. And for 700 years, he has been alive on the Razor's Edge, where, well, being eaten is always in the top 15 causes of death, sometimes in the top 5, sometimes in the top 3. And he's 700 years old. Now, he and the Speliodonkus have adventures later on, and when, I'm going to quickly say this, being 700 years old, he has seen every century the kaiju has come down and depopulated Apple Rock. But Apple Rock, for the past 600 years, has never really gotten over 7,000 people. So every century, when the kaiju comes down and depopulates it, that's only 7,000 people eaten. It quickly starts over again. He was shocked when the kaiju came down and ate 12,000 people at the 700-year part. In 100 years, this is where he and the Speliodonkus tap out, because by that time, in 100 years, Apple Rock has become a thriving metropolis of 2.5 million people. And this time when the kaiju rampages, and people can finally get in there, old Ray discovers there's not a single human being in there. It's all silent. Nothing. Every single human being has been eaten by the kaiju, and you can almost feel the self-satisfaction just radiating off of that thing. 2.5 million people gone. And old Ray is like, okay, I'm done. And I've opened up 24 hours for the comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank however many people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well, it's just basically stimming now. I'm not doing like actual counting. And especially like today where I mentioned I get fewer and fewer comments all the time as time goes by. YouTube is changing and I'm not. So, you know, my fault. But, oh boy, there's very few today. We have Jesse Koskinen. I should get a tie for the pick. Thumbs up and good to see you. DF, who didn't like my reaction to a Pentatonic song. Called it weird and crude. I love Pentatonics, so I don't exactly know what his problem is. There is Chris, greatly appreciated. It's Relit, thumbs up and thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Shinra, greatly appreciated. And I will have to read up on the Kung Fu Panda movie that's coming up. I love the first three. I hope this one isn't awful. We have JAYY, thumbs up and thank you. There's DR and then about 10,000 O's. Thumbs up and thank you. Good to see you. We have Nexar EH. I hope dialysis went well. Hokey smokes. And then there's RJ Mitchell. Thumbs up. Thank you so very much. You gave me a good hand the other day. Thank you. In fact, what was it? Yesterday? Thank you very, very much. And that is it. Thank you, each and every one of you. You get me out of my head, into the world, and dealing with real people, and that is appreciated to no end. Thumbs up and thank you. Well, hokey smokes. Yeah, I have therapy today, and then I have that social worker appointment today, so I'm not going to be doing much other than just trying to keep my leg doing okay. My back is killing me right now just from keeping my leg up, so I don't know how it's going to go. Hopefully, though, you can get done the things that you would like to get done. That would be cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. But if you can't, don't beat yourself up. That's not going to make you feel better. And it's definitely not going to help you out and get stuff done. So, be good to yourself. Past that, yeah, for at least for the bit right now, I'm going to stick with this because I really can't think of another way to end this. And I mean, while it's not as funny to me anymore, I mean, to anybody else, it might be directly funny, you know, hit your funny bone in just the right way, because normally I would have ended these in a very, very semi-professional fashion. Now I just sort of fade off while waving this thing in the air and going, so thumbs up. Anyway, though, take care, and after choking on my own saliva, I will see you on the flip side.